Hello, this is Jordan. This video is being recorded on Sunday, April 23rd, 2023. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you all had a great weekend and are ready to get after it this coming week. And in this video, just going to do a quick update on the precious metals markets, gold especially, and gold stocks as we focus on the outlook for this week and what we could say is an ongoing correction. So just going to look at gold here and not gold and silver together. Same thing with the stocks. Maybe I'll get back to silver next week. But so looking at gold here, this is the daily chart, and I see two clear support levels. You have support at 1950. That's the first support. Then after that, you have support at 1900. So you can see they're laid out there. Now, there's three moving averages. And if you recall a video I did a week or two ago, I discussed certain support levels when you're early in a gold bull market and how much gold can correct. And so looking at the three main support levels, you have the 50-day, 100-day, and 150-day moving averages. So right now, the first two, the 50-day and the 100-day, those are at 1928, and then the 100-day is at 1891. Obviously, they're both sloping up. The 50-day is probably going to reach 1950 in the next few weeks. The 100-day moving average will go through 100, it'll go through 1900 even sooner than that. Now, if this correction, if it bounces off 1900, it consolidates for a couple months, it wants to test 1900 again the next couple months. If we see something that's drawn out for 2-3 months, that type of thing, then maybe you could see gold test the 150-day at that point. But again, just if you review the video, I forget the name of it, but it's only like a week or two old. I looked at, what are the support lines that, when gold has these corrections in a bull market. Well, it's not a big correction, but it's just getting started. It gets overbought after it's rebounded. What are the moving averages that it comes to? Well, it tends to be one of those three. So in really strong trends, it's the 50-day, and then in other cases, it's the 100 and 150-day moving averages. So with all that said, gun to my head, my guess is this thing is going to end at 1900. I'm not sure when or which moving averages. Right now, I'd probably lean towards the 100-day. But as I was saying, if we see something that is more drawn out, something that can last 2 or 3 months, then perhaps you could see gold test the 150-day. Because if I'm looking at that and tracing where that moving average could be in the next couple months, it's probably, I think, has a good chance to hit 1900, maybe at the end of June, early July. So just something to keep in mind if this correction goes on beyond, let's just say the next 2 or 3 weeks. So 1900 is the level I'm looking at. First level to look at this week is 1950. Okay, so let's just look at GDX and GDXJ. GDX is corrected 8%. GDXJ is corrected 10%. I've talked about the breadth thrust that we had in GDX, and after we had those also in 2016 and 2019. After the breadth thrust, the corrections tended to be anywhere from 8% to as high as 17%. I think there was only one 17%. So if you're looking at an average or a median, they were around 10 to 11%. So again, GDX is already corrected 8%, GDXJ already 10%. The ETFs here, they're still well above those 50-day moving averages. So in extremely strong trends, you tend to see the 20-day is support, and then strong trends, the 50-day. I'm not showing the 20-day here, but you can see those moving averages are the 50 days. And so looking at GDXJ, it's come down from about 44 to 40 pretty quickly. The 50-day is at 37, and looking at the price action, for me, it's right around 38, I would say. That's the next strong support here, and I think that's just my guess. If it's going to be 1900 for gold, it could be 37, 38 for GDXJ. And for GDX, that also means, that is a pretty big gap there based on the support levels I've drawn. But we'll just say 32. And again, so if this correction is more drawn out, even if it's 2-3 weeks, that's still enough time where you could see the minor ETFs here test the 50-day moving averages at some point. Because remember, these moving averages, they're sloping up, they're rising, and so they'll be at higher levels over the coming days and weeks. So, I didn't want to talk about silver just because I think, gold is a much bigger market. Gold tends to be the driver. I mean, maybe we'll talk about silver next week, but I just wanted to keep it kind of short and simple for this week. So again, looking at gold, again, 1900, 1950 are the key levels. And here you can see, I mean, I don't need to tell you, you can look at the chart, and I already mentioned it. The key levels for GDX, when you have support there, 31.32, then for GDXJ, 37.38. And so if we see GDXJ come down to 37, maybe that equates to gold testing 1900. But, we'll see. So I think the correction is ongoing, but at this point, I still think it's a correction, a really strong trend, where our bias has to be that the path of least resistance, beyond the next week or beyond the next 2 weeks is likely to be higher. And, of course, I've talked about medium term and intermediate term in other videos, but we're just focusing on the short term here. So we'll see how things develop this week. Still looking for lower prices, but, be on alert, because perhaps if gold comes down, the miners come down, this can happen really quickly. I mean, in strong trends, you get very quick corrections where it could be over at the end of this week. So I don't want to say that much more. I've already mentioned my support targets. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys again in the next video.